Next on Valley News Live at 10, with a Fargo bar on the verge of having its liquor license suspended, we investigate how often this happens. Caught on camera, a bar serves a minor who was later involved in a deadly crash. Plus, California is banning state-funded travel to North Dakota. Valley News Live at 10 starts right now.
This is Valley News Live at 10.
Fargo City Commission will be considering a 60-day liquor license suspension for the Africa Restaurant and Nightclub. It was recommended by the Liquor Control Board in large part because of several investigations for possible code violations and public safety. Valley News Team's Nashay Taylor investigates what warrants an establishment getting its liquor license suspended.
Fargo's police chief read off a long list against the Africa Restaurant and Nightclub, including incidents involving murder, underage drinking, and gun possession on the premises.
We have seen a continual increase in calls in violence, especially gun violence. I have significant concerns about public safety if this establishment continues to operate under its current management scheme.
Chief Zabalski says the continuing need for police at this establishment has exhausted department resources. Officers responded to the nightclub 12 times in a 2-month time span. Zabalski believes the excessive use of alcohol in the establishment is causing much concern.
People are continuing to overconsume and they are continuing to get into fights and disturbances.
But what warrants a business having its liquor license suspended? According to Commissioner Tony Garrick, new guidelines were put in place within the last couple of years, including the use of a sliding scale for offense severity. And repeat violations are based on a rolling 6-month period. But Garrick says those guidelines aren't hard pressed.
We've never pulled a license for bad behavior. And I think that is not good. There are plenty of bars that we can look at. I think we're not doing our job. I think that we need to be far more strict with the people who already own licenses.
Garrick believes there should be a continuous review process for bar and restaurant owners who already have licenses to evaluate possible misconduct. In this case, it will be up to Garrick and the rest of the commission to decide. In Fargo, Nashay Taylor, Valley News Live.
Commissioner Garrick added that he can only recall during his tenure one reason why a liquor license was suspended. That was if a restaurant failed to sell 50-50 alcohol and food. A different Fargo bar is being slapped with a fine after Fargo police say a server didn't card a minor who later was involved in a deadly crash. That happened in February in North Fargo. 21-year-old Isaiah Johnson was in the car with Elijah Vistens at the time of a single car crash. Johnson was thrown from the passenger seat and died from his injuries. Vistens admitted to drinking before the crash at Cactus Jack Saloon. Surveillance video from the bar shows Vistens was served without being carded. If you need help with an issue in your community, here's some advice. Call our whistleblower hotline. The phone number is right there on your screen now, 701-237-6576. Call that number and leave your tip. A member of our investigative team will get on the case and go to work to expose the truth. California has branded North Dakota a no-travel designation, not because of the virus, but because of a policy. California has banned most state-funded travel to states with discriminatory laws against the LGBTQ+ community, which they say includes North Dakota's transgender sports bill from the last legislative session. North Dakota will be officially added to the banned list on August 1st when the law takes effect. Some lawmakers say they're not really fazed.
All these threats, there's threatening governors, threatening states, oh, we're not going to come, we're not going to have tourism. It's just fake. Honest to God, it's fake, and it has never materialized.
This decision isn't just a political reaction from the state of California. State law there restricts state travel to places with laws like these on the books. Here's another sign that the pandemic is lifting. The Minnesota Judicial Branch announcing today that face coverings will no longer be required inside court facilities starting July 6th. The Chief Justice saying as the pandemic's impact on Minnesota continues to recede, so too will some of the health and safety protocols that were in place in our courts. Meanwhile, Minnesota U.S. Senator Amy Klobuchar is asking for clarification of mask regulations while traveling. The CDC announced new guidance for fully vaccinated people in May, saying they can resume daily activities without wearing masks. But on the flip side, their guidance keeps a mask mandate for everyone riding on a plane, train, or bus. Esme Murphy has our story.
One sign people are flying again, it's suddenly hard to get an airport parking spot. But inside the terminal, mask regulations remain the same as at the height of the pandemic. For some, that's confusing.
You turn on the television and you have somebody who's an expert here saying one thing, and then you have so-and-so here saying another thing. So yeah, it'd be good to have a very clear understanding of what the expectations are and the guidelines.
People are ready to travel, and I think that's part of why we're asking these questions.
Senator Amy Klobuchar and a group of bipartisan senators have written the CDC and TSA asking for clarification.
I am not wedded to anything but the science, and that's what we need to hear. And we haven't gotten that update for quite a while. So let's get it.
The bipartisan group of senators is also asking the CDC to reveal and make public any new information they have about the spread of COVID-19 on airplanes and other forms of public transportation.
I think we need to make sure it's safe for as long as possible until everybody is vaccinated. There's new strains coming around.
Senator Klobuchar would like the CDC to be more transparent about any information it does have.
You would think these major airlines have data on this. The CDC must have access to that. So let's see what we can find out to then figure out what the next steps should be.
Some states and jurisdictions are texting people to encourage them to get vaccinated against COVID-19, using data from a study on flu vaccination rates as their inspiration. Researchers at the University of Pennsylvania found that text messages about the flu vaccine increased vaccination rates by about 5%. The team tried nearly 20 messages. They found messages that told patients a vaccine was reserved or waiting for them performed the best. Researchers found texts using humor didn't work as well. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Dakota will now provide Medicaid expansion managed care services across the state. The 4-year contract with the insurance provider begins January 1st. North Dakota is one of 36 states that will expand Medicaid. Lawmakers in the House of Representatives are investigating the pricing and FDA approval of a new Alzheimer's drug. The FDA approved the medication earlier this month under its accelerated approval program. However, last year, an advisory committee for the agency found there was not enough evidence to support the effectiveness of the treatment. The cost is also an issue. It requires an infusion once every 4 weeks at more than $4,000 per infusion. The U.S. Supreme Court won't let landlords evict certain tenants who fail to pay rent. Chief Justice John Roberts and Justice Brett Kavanaugh joined the court's liberals today to keep the CDC moratorium in place until July 31st. A district court has ruled in favor of a group of landlords and real estate companies who wanted the policy lifted so they could collect payments, but its ruling was put on hold pending appeal. Multiple officials say the U.S. could complete the withdrawal of troops from Afghanistan in the next few days. But a senior administration official says up to 1,000 troops could stay in country after the formal withdrawal. The announcement comes amid concerns among military officials that Afghanistan could devolve into civil war. North Dakota State University President Dean Brashani is stepping down. Today, the State Board of Higher Education voted 6-1 to accept his resignation. Brashani will serve as president through 2022 and then become a tenured NDSU professor. No word at this point as to why Brashani resigned. He was appointed in 2010. There have been 41 motor vehicle fatalities in North Dakota so far this year, and that's trending higher than 2020. Vision Zero North Dakota says it's important now more than ever to take personal responsibility when driving by buckling up, obeying the speed limits, and driving sober and distraction-free. And to help promote this message, Vision Zero has partnered with the North Dakota-based duo Tiger Lily. The country singers will be promoting personal responsibility through social media videos. The sisters say the partnership was an easy thing for them to do, as they've experienced the importance of traffic safety firsthand.
I was hanging upside down in my car, and if I wouldn't have had that seatbelt on, I don't know how serious my injuries would have been or if I would have even made it. But for us, it's always been important to promote traffic safety, wearing your seatbelt, finding the sober ride.
The singing duo also referenced their newest song, Somebody Does, where the lyrics reflect Vision Zero's message that somebody does care about you.
From here down, we have a Learjet engine. So behind this plug, got 3,000 pounds of jet power.
A unique sight is planned for the Fargo Air Show next month. Those two planes will be flying in formation together in what staff say is a historic moment in aviation. It'll be the first time two of these planes will ever fly together in a show, and the pilots tell us it's a dream come true.
You know, when I was a kid, I would go to air shows and see some unique acts, and I just remember being inspired from a very young age to get involved in aviation, and now to be on the other side of the fence, so to speak, is quite rewarding.
You can catch that flight and many others at the Fargo Air Show July 24th and 25th. Later on Valley News Live at 10, the search continues as hundreds of rescuers are heading to Miami now to help find survivors after the collapse of a high-rise. And when you pick out your clothes tomorrow morning, try lightweight, light-colored, and loose-fitting. Hutch will be in to explain why.